Local productions on QTV are made possible with support from viewers like you. Thank you.
Hello everyone, welcome to Uncommon Sense. I'm Junia and thank you for joining us. My guest today is Scott Govitz, Executive Director of Workforce and Economic Development at Mid-Michigan Community College and former City Administrator and Mayor for the City of Beaverton. Well, that's quite a big job title. Tell me what it encompasses.
Well, I do a lot of work in the communities that we serve at the college, and that includes working in economic development and working with economic development entities like Middle Michigan Development Corporation or the Gladwin County Economic Development Corporation. We do work in my division with small businesses. We house the Small Business Development Center, so we work with existing or would-be entrepreneurs. We do customized training for local business and manufacturing, so they may need something as in the likes of supervisory skills training or skills for individuals on the shop floor for shop math or blueprint reading.
Oh, really?
Things like that. So it's a variety of training opportunities with those companies. And then we do short-term training in our facilities. We do short-term welding training. We do short-term manufacturing skills type of trainings, and then we also have trainings in the medical field that are also short-term, getting someone in and out in a 5-week period, like certified nurses aid or phlebotomists. So it encompasses a great deal, but all aimed at increasing the workforce and assisting the economic entities of the region.
Because I hear there are jobs out there, we just don't necessarily have the preparation in the students who want the job. So this is very helpful. What do you teach in supervisory skills training?
It could be very customized to the problems that are being experienced by an organization. Typically right now, though, what we're finding, because you're right on the mark with respect to all of the job openings that are out there, is that a lot of individuals have come through the ranks, maybe come off from the shop floor and entered the supervisory realm, but don't necessarily have those skill sets in supervising the employees themselves. And so we can customize it to the needs of the organization, but a lot of times we have new supervisors and they need the skill sets to deal with all of the difficulties and problems and issues that arise on a daily basis.
What are some of those problems and issues?
It can be dealing with difficult people. It can be how do we optimize the individuals that are working for the organization. It can be issues like scheduling and demands on the time, and how do you schedule that time effectively. Just all of those issues that you would expect when you're dealing with a large number or group of people from a variety of different backgrounds.
Interesting. And what do you teach them about dealing with difficult people? Because we all at some point in the day or life encounter some, and maybe we even are some.
Right, yeah. Well, we utilize professionals from our community and from business and industry itself to actually come in and be the instructors for us. And we will go in with a company, and we will sit down with them, much like we're doing here, and say, well, tell me about the problems that you're experiencing. And at the end of the day, we'll end up with a curriculum that is specifically designed for that organization.
Really?
That attacks their issues, their problems in a time frame that they set, either at their location of business or at our location or third-party location.
Does that is that option also available for the short-term training if businesses are looking for certain kinds of backgrounds in an applicant pool and don't find them? Can they come to the college and say, will you run a training program that emphasizes this, that, and the other?
Yes, absolutely, and that's part of the whole customized training realm of what we do. And we very much work with local organizations and companies particularly to meet their needs, no matter what they are. It's not very often that a company will come to us with a training need that we don't have the professional out there that we've worked with in the past or that we can't find in the community college ranks or elsewhere to help us deliver that training.
Interesting. Now, how is a person supposed to find out about that if they want a job and they don't feel they're qualified, or they've been told they're not qualified, or whatever, how would they find out about your program?
Right.
I mean, I certainly going online or calling you up or looking for a brochure, but is that widely known?
Michigan Works is a great partner and a repository of knowledge and individuals who are actually coming through looking for opportunities. And so they have a great knowledge of who we are.
And this is a state employment agency?
That's correct. That's correct. And so they know us and we deal with them on a regular basis, and they know about our programs. And so they're oftentimes working with individuals from our various communities to try and get them the increased training that will get them into a stepping stone into an entry-level job, or to increase their skill sets, even in some instances, to move up within an organization. So beyond Michigan Works, though, we also are out in the community a great deal. Our work in the manufacturing sector, as an example, and through the economic development corporations, and knowing a lot of these individuals from our communities and working directly with them, they will tell applicants, you know, listen, have you considered Mid-Michigan Community College for this type of training to get your foot into the door? So that's always helpful. And then there are also some feeder programs to other college programs that are degree programs. So someone who may be looking to enter the nursing realm may start at a phlebotomist's or a certified nurse's aide and use that experience as a stepping stone into the nursing program and a nursing career.
Oh, interesting. So, but do you do anything, I always get concerned, when I went through school, I only saw policemen, firemen, teachers. I didn't see much of it. I couldn't imagine working, I just didn't know a lot. Now it's a different world, internet and this and that.
Right.
But how do kids get an idea of what they might want to do if they're not born to be doctors or born to be welders or something?
Right. Well, I think that's, you know, I think there are things that are in place now to do that. There are opportunities for testing careers by having a career day. At
what age do they do that?
Well, it varies, and some school districts are able to do it at a much earlier age and to a much greater extent than others. The communities that we serve in Clare and Gladwin and Isabella and Gratiot counties are attempting to do that at a much lower level, because there's a knowledge, I think, that getting students engaged and getting early and their parents engaged earlier will help them in decision making that not only will lead to getting into a career path that fits them, but think of the money that they save longer term. How many individuals do we know that perhaps went through education and are nowhere near the degree path that they were seeking, and wasted perhaps a lot of time, energy, and resources in doing so?
Now, you're involved with a STEM program.
I am.
You care to talk about that a little bit?
Sure, yeah. The STEM program that we're engaged in at Mid-Michigan Community College deals with the workforce and trying to do some of what you just talked about or asked about, and that is to engage students, parents, advisors in the school districts and the like in their knowledge about STEM fields and STEM careers. But in addition to that, to give experiential learning opportunities to students at a much earlier age. So what does that mean? We could offer a student an opportunity to do job shadowing and co-ops and internships at a much greater level and get some of that experience earlier on in their careers, or in their school careers, I should say, and learn a great deal more about the fields that surround them. You know, they often drive past the four walls of a business or a manufacturing plant, but have no idea what's going on behind those walls.
True.
And there's everything, of course, as you know, from the accountant to the top executives to human resources, all the way to the individuals who are doing the security of the building, but also the quality control, the engineering, the running of the CNC mills and machinery on the shop floor, producing the parts, packaging the parts, transporting the parts, all of those elements that happen on a daily basis behind those four walls. But unless they get in there and get a chance to experience it and understand it, then they may not be as interested, let's say, in a STEM field or in a manufacturing field. And as you said much earlier, there are a lot of good paying jobs available in those sectors.
Interesting. Now, I read what you've done. You have done everything, everywhere. It is so impressive. But as I mentioned before the program, I was interested in that buddy system.
Yes.
And just talk to a little bit about that, because I think that's one of the keys to educating people and giving them a chance to do better.
Well, yeah, thanks for asking. Well, through the Big Brothers Big Sisters program, there's a program called Lunch Buddies, and it offers an opportunity for individuals like us who have professional experience or an interest in helping a student along who may be experiencing some difficulty, who may not have an adult parent that's male or female, and this is someone who can go in and speak to that person or that child and help them along and help to answer some questions that they may have. But it's really being a support mechanism. It's about trying to ask questions of them. How's your school day going? How are your grades? Where are you struggling, and how can I be helpful? And encouraging them, pushing them along to say, next time I arrive, I'm going to be asking, did you behave in class? Sometimes they end up in a detention or something like that. And I've really honestly witnessed it work with a lunch buddy and then that group of friends that surround. So you're just kind of tackled when you enter the lunch zone on that particular occasion. But I, like you, also believe it is extremely important, and it's part of giving back too.
And what are the kinds of questions? How do you promote trust when you first get assigned or someone signed? How do they get to you?
Sure. In this instance, I happened to know the particular child that I'm a lunch buddy with, and because I still live in the community that I grew up in, I know a lot of the other children, and I know a lot of their parents or grandparents at this point, and so that's part of it, to be able to say, oh, you're Tom Smith or Jones
right.
or whomever, and is your father or mother fill in the blank or grandparent. And as a result of that, I think you build some immediate camaraderie. The other thing is that being involved in a lot of community endeavors, you see some of these kids and you see some of their parents in different settings, and doing things like announcing basketball, as an example, allows you to see a lot of kids in the gymnasium on any given weeknight.
You love that, don't you?
It's something that I've been doing for a lot of years, yes. In fact, somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 years I've been doing that on the local scene.
What drew you to do so many wonderful volunteer activities?
Oh, I think we all have God-given gifts, and part of those gifts are my heart goes to my community and to my larger community in regional sense, and as a part of that, I have always sort of had this part of me that says, somebody did it for me. I park cars for fireworks to help raise money for the fireworks because someone parked cars or someone raised money for fireworks for me to enjoy as a kid. So when I take that sort of a view of things, and the fact that I love my community too, and that has been so good to me and my family and friends, that it's an opportunity to give back. And so I have a chance to do that, and that's
what was your own
love.
family like?
Yeah, I have a rather large extended family from
Do
the
you?
community. The community itself has, like many names that have been around for a lengthy period of time, my great-grandfather migrated to the Gladwin County area and closer to Midland County in the Lisle area back in 1911. And so from there, another side of my family had been there since the early 30s or 40s as well. And so from there, lots of aunts and uncles, lots of cousins and beyond. And it was just one of those special opportunities to grow up in a rural community that weekends, and particularly in the summer, were made for family gatherings. And those are not as often as any longer since everyone's getting older, but certainly fond memories.
But did you meet once a week at Grandma's house, or what was the tradition? What were those traditions then?
Yeah, a lot of weekend opportunities, and a lot of since I had a lot of uncles as well, a lot of ball games, you know. So so the yard would break out in a ball game, and then there would be the picnic, and there was an opportunity to go fishing. We lived on the river as well, the Tobacco River in the community, and so it was an opportunity just to enjoy family and you know, just relax on a weekend. Something that just, you know, I think escapes a lot of us today.
That's over now.
Yeah.
I mean, I listen to the parents, and they're working on the weekend. They're taking their kids to games and this and that. I mean, it isn't. And the other thing that I have a concern with, people seem to raise their children not to trust strangers. And true, there's some bad actors around, but most people are really good people.
Yeah.
And this kind of, I remember thinking, what kind of a culture are we creating amongst that age group? Nobody's going to trust each other. And so I don't... Well,
I still have great faith in America, but I certainly think what you're saying is true. And I remember the respect component of it as well. And that was to address someone older than you as Mr. or Mrs.
Yes.
To say please and thank you. So those are the things that I think we may miss a bit more now. But I think we have an opportunity to continue to use the talents that we've been given to try and still instill that and make a difference. And so I think there's still great hope. One of the interesting things is, Mrs. Doan, when I see individuals, students in the community, and they do something really neat, you know, you hear about the bad things, and they're pretty commonplace, you know, and that's unfortunate. But then you see something really great happen, and you just, I at least, stand back and say, boy, this isn't as bad as we may think. You know, I think if we leave ourselves to watch and only listen to national news, as an example, that will lead us down a path that I'm not convinced is the best, because I don't think it paints an accurate picture of who we are, and certainly not who we are in these small Midwestern communities that we live in.
We're more optimism, and your word is your bond, and you follow through, and you know who the deadbeats are.
Yes, I think you're on the mark.
Yeah. When my daughter was in school, they had I forget what it was called, like 5th grade, and they had to form a society. So they divided up the class, and you know, each class, first thing I did is you have a jail and a bank.
They forgot the hardware in the bar.
Well, you know, they finally figured out, and they had to do their own currency and their own.
Right.
But what they also found out, who was willing to put in the work in their little group, and who wasn't.
Right.
And the grade was not individual; it was for the group. So they found out who wasn't pulling their weight, as well as who had to work overtime, you know, to carry along this other person. So
that's a great life lesson.
It is a great life lesson, how to be and not be. Exactly.
Yeah, and I see some of those as well in Junior Achievement.
Let's talk about that. How does that work?
Junior Achievement is a program that's designed to allow individuals like us to go into a school system as well and spend some time with the kids learning about business, and there's a whole lot of different elements about business, and it goes from I believe 3rd grade through 12th grade, and so there are a lot of different elements. But just as one example, for them to learn about manufacturing and about Henry Ford and the line that was developed at Ford Motor Company, and what works better, trying to work by yourself to put these pens together so you get a whole packet of ink pens that are all in pieces. Is it easier to put them together individually, or does the teamwork approach and the assembly line approach work better for that? And so it's a think and learn and lessons learned during the process, putting individuals in various roles. You'll be the supervisor, I'll be in charge of the springs, you'll be in charge of maintenance and cleanup, and who has the parts and supplies. So it goes to much greater depths than that at the older levels, but it's a great program.
I often think that could be added to some of the classes that you're conducting, and just is the point of view of service, that you're coming here to make things better for yourself, for your team, for your classroom. And out of that, there are positives that come back to you, like self-respect.
Right, right.
Feeling of accomplishment.
Right.
You know?
Right.
But I don't know, certainly in my daughter's time, no one talked about that. In my time in school, no one talked about that.
Well, one of the things that we do see with the millennials particularly is their interest in volunteer service. And so that is something that is interesting to me, but also gives me hope as well for our future. Just one more element. But with respect to service, you know, there are a lot of service organizations and clubs within the college setting that are out actually performing service in the communities as well. And there are a lot of service learning components that have been added now into the curriculum and are requirements of the classroom setting as well. So it is a valuable opportunity for them to learn and to give back as well, and I think that's an important component.
I'm reminded in my school, our volunteer, we had to go collect attendance records out of every classroom.
Yeah, right.
Well, part of this is great. I don't have to be, class for that 20 minutes. I'm running around the school.
Right.
But the other part is that I felt that this is really important to know who's in class and who's not.
Yes.
Made me feel more adult
Yes.
in a certain kind of a way, like I'm on the responsibility side.
Oh, yes.
Rather than the other side of things. So how do you teach responsibility?
Well, I mean, let's face it, I think so much of that belongs at home and comes from home. But it also comes from, and this is another reason why I think we love our communities, is it comes from our communities too. It comes from the school that you attend and the pride that's instilled in everyday opportunities, learning and doing. I think it comes from your family. I believe it comes from your church. And I think there's this sense of pride that communities have, or lack in some instances, that also helps to mold us as individuals. But I do think there's a definite need in the manufacturing base that we hear in the business in general for individuals who have soft skills. And I think a lot of what needs to happen is the infusion of those soft skills and trying to teach it, because it doesn't appear that they're getting it in other realms.
Do you have children?
I do not.
Oh, that's interesting. How did you raise your nephews and nieces? What did you try to instill in them?
Well, I had 4 great nephews and lots, like I said, of extended family, but I tried to spend a lot of time with them in the respect realm. I hope that what they were able to learn by, tagging along with me to events and the like is that you do respect others, and you do so in a meaningful way. And things like thank you and please and Mr. and Mrs. and the like.
I just spent some time down in Georgia, and it was so refreshing to be addressed as yes, ma'am. You would call it, yes, ma'am, yes, sir.
Right.
And this will be taken care of. You requested this, you asked for this, yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bring a little of
that
that Southern tradition up north.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Absolutely.
Get it done in a timely manner.
Unquestionably. I think we spend a lot of time in our nation talking past one another and believing that problems are resolved by you and I spending 1 minute on that side of the couch and me a minute on this side, and at the end of the 2-minute session, what has been accomplished?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Really?
It has filled the airtime of a 24/7 news cycle, but it does very little in the way of resolving issues or in the way of making some positive change for the community or the country, for that matter.
How do you teach people to listen, to hear?
Yeah, that's something I have to work on a lot still, and that is to say, close your mouth, open your ears, and hear yourself. I think it's another skill that we may be, lacking a great deal, but I think it just comes with practice. How interested are you in the other person and what they have to say, versus thinking about the next sentence that you want to espouse. So just takes practice, I believe.
Thank you very much. So, we've learned a lot today. First of all, a positive attitude is always a good attitude, and a sense of gratefulness is always a useful attitude. Another thing is which is surprising, but really admirable, is to have a sense of, not indebtedness, but it's your turn to carry through in your time what prior people did in a voluntary way to make your life better. He was talking about fireworks, but in almost anything. And to be that example for people young and old about pitching in and making it better. And his job is particularly useful because it gives people a chance to better themselves. And if you have a chance to better yourself, you feel better about your life. You're worth the effort, I guess. He makes people feel that they're worth the effort. So as you go forward in life, remember, there's someone rooting for you. It could be a lunch buddy, it could be someone at work, it could be someone you don't know, just wishes you well and gives you a smile. And be that person who gives the smile to someone. Do something in kind for someone you know, someone you don't know. Do it again next week because we're all here and we want to make life better. Thank you. Tune in next time. Appreciate it. That was just wonderful.
To contact Junia, send her an email at info@juniadone.com. For more information, program schedules, and news about future guests, go to www.juniadone.com. Thanks for joining us. See you next time for Uncommon Sense with Junia Doan.
Local productions on QTV are made possible with support from viewers like you. Thank you.